Folks, welcome to Drinks, Jokes, and Storytelling. I'm your host, Mark Riccadonna, and with me as always,
Richie, Byrne. Mark, I'll see you later. Thanks for doing the show. See you
later. As soon as we came on, I just looked at your face because we've been doing it 3 years and you still get surprised every single time.
I'm like a dog when you come home at night. You know what I mean?
I was staring at you waiting for you to be
That guy's here again.
I can't believe it. So we got a really special episode today. I'm super excited, but I'm bummed because here in 2 minutes I'm going to have to pop out. I got to go pick up Axel from the bus stop, and then I'll be back to join you guys. We have a
so Mark's gonna run out and get his kid because he's a good dad. Whatever.
Well, they don't know that I've been day drinking all day, so they don't know. What do they know?
We're gonna jump over to Twitch. We're on Facebook right now, but we're gonna get out of Facebook. We're gonna jump over to Twitch right there, twitch.tv/drinks, jokes, and the letter N storytelling. And when we come back, it'll be me and Tom. I don't want anyone to get nervous. Go, what happened? Why does Mark look different and have a better voice? It'll be me and Tom. And I just let them know what Twitch it is. But hi, Marie.
Thank you, Marie. See, Marie got my back.
One more time, guys. Twitch.tv/drinks, jokes, the letter N storytelling. That's where you can find us. When we come back, you won't find Mark because he's got to go pick up his kid. But we're going to have a great show. Vanessa Hollingshead is here. And what do you say? You want to get over now? Want to get over?
Yeah, let's pop over now, and then I'll be ready for
a kid waiting on a bus stop, Mark.
I know, in the rain, too. All right.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
That they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
Why so serious?
But what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you.
Well, I'm not good at it. I want you to get mad. You gotta say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has been. I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore.
Hey, how are you, sir? It's so nice to see you.
Finally, the way I've wanted the show for 3 years.
Thank God we got rid of that nerd.
That idiot. How are you?
I'm doing good, sir. I'm doing good. I'm feeling really good about our guest today. She is so funny. I feel like it's an unfair advantage that I know so much about her.
Do you see what Mark wrote? I hear you.
Damn, the nerd's still listening. Good to see you out there.
So let me get this straight now. He left. You're jumping in to fill his place, but he'll be back. But I heard you say that you did a lot of work on.
I just like to get to know who we're going to have on the cast. And she has such an exciting life. Like, she didn't enter comedy super early. She lived so much before that. Like, her dad has such interesting stories. There's so much to dig into. It's going to be so good.
I didn't enter comedy early either, but I had nothing interesting in my life. I was 26. I was older, which is old in comedy.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, I've known Vanessa a long time. She's a tremendous comedian. You want to get her out here? You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready for it. Let's bring her out here with this.
What?
Go ahead, give her the intro. Let everybody know who doesn't know already.
Guys, she's a tremendous comic. She can be seen all over New York City. Now that's reopening, thank God. Stand Up New York. She comic strips. She works everywhere. And she's a dear friend of Mark and a good friend of me, and we're so happy to have her. Give it up for the one, the only Vanessa Hollingshead. How about it? Woo!
Hey.
Thank you. And thank you for just such a warm welcome and introduction. I'm really looking. I don't usually like doing podcasts, but this one I just feel like I'm with my friends, you know?
Oh, well, cool. Well, thank you. That means a lot to us. We've had that happen before where either Mark or I have called someone and said, hey, can you come on the podcast? They're like, well, I normally don't like to do them, but it's you guys, I'll do. And that always makes me feel so good, you know?
Right. No, I mean, when I was doing, I think it was Ziggy's or One Eye Jack's or one of them, and you came in the room, you lit up the whole room, Richie. Like everybody was laughing. Like everyone was doing their 5 minutes, kind of funny, sometimes not so funny. And then you just took it to another level. You made it a really nice evening when it felt like Prohibition night.
It was funny because I had a gig. This is probably October.
Right. You had to get ready for a gig. Yeah.
I had a gig. So this place does workshop. Let's just call it that. And I started going there because I wanted to get on stage a little bit, and everybody in the room when I was going there for the first 2 weeks were new comics, new Long Island comics, young guys and then I walked in one night and it was you, Chris Monty, Rich Walker, Joe Curry. And all of a sudden when I got on stage, you could tell things might be opening up because every established comic just showed up to come in here.
I know.
I thought it was so funny.
We were desperate.
Yeah. It's just, and it is a great way. People don't understand that. You can't stand in front of your mirror and do comedy. You have to, even in that situation where it's other comics, it helps to just get up and do it, that way and have some sort of feedback, And what I loved about it is, I don't know if you know this, Vanessa, but you can turn on that and say, hey, do this joke, do it. Because it's a workshop. So you can actually interrupt somebody and go, you know what, try this. And I really enjoyed it. I may go tonight. I might go tonight again. It's because because next week, New York opens up, baby, April 2nd.
I know, and I'm getting my vaccine on the 31st at the Javits Center.
Are you really?
Yeah, and people are like, aren't you afraid of the side effects? I'm like, well, no, I mean, my main side effect I don't want to have is to get it and to die, so I will risk bleeding from my eyes if I stay alive.
I have a friend, I have the friends who are anti-vaxxers.
Yeah.
And I have the friends, and my one friend the other night goes, do you know what I put into my body when I was in my 20s?
Right.
He's like,
I know.
There can't be anything in this that was worse than what I was doing to myself.
How many times were you at a disco and someone said, here, try this?
And you just did.
And you did it. Now, all of a sudden, we're health conscious?
I know.
So crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I also have a few friends who think that they're going to monitor you, that there's a way to, the government can watch what you're doing. And I go, yeah, it's called a cell phone. It's
like they're watching that. Yeah, they put a chip. My friend said, good, because I'm forgetting shit. They can go put as many chips in as they want.
Where's my keys? Oh, wait, check the satellite. Yeah. Check the satellite. Everybody, I'm like, I always say, I go, if you want to follow me, go ahead. I mean, there's not much you're going to get out of it. I mean, if this is how we're going to spend our tax money following me around, go ahead,
Yeah, they'd be like, man, she sure likes hitting tennis balls by herself in a park, There's something so pathetic about practicing tennis against a wall by yourself and listening to Only the Lonely, trying to make the most out of everything.
Yes, thank you. You do. You have to tell those people they're not that interesting.
Right.
So do you feel like we're getting to the other side of this now, or what do you think?
Do I feel what? That we're getting to the other side?
Yes.
When Carol Montgomery, right?
Yes.
Yes, I love this woman, and she always seems to she keeps everything in perspective and on the level, and has a great head for business. And she says, we might be okay April 2022.
I agree with that.
She goes, no.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I think it's not like we're going to wake up in April of 2022 and it's going to be like, bam. I mean, as we're moving along, it's getting more, and I think we're going to, I'm a little worried. They keep talking about these other strains that are
especially from Brazil, the new Brazilian strain.
This Brazil strain, which I heard has no pubic hairs. But
that's a good joke. It's a good joke.
It's made that up.
And you get a nice ass out of it. Like, all right, I'll get that strain.
Yeah, I don't mind. To be honest. Oh, but yeah, I mean, they keep talking about the new strains.
And now he's flushing.
Oh, me?
Yeah,
I am.
Irish Catholic.
I am Irish. You're right. That was very Irish Catholic. So yeah, but I understand what Carol's saying. Carol actually was on our other show. We do a show called The Round Table.
Yes.
And we did a show on women of a certain age, funny women of a certain age.
Right.
We were going to have you on, but we realized it was 10 days ago. We didn't want to have you on then and then have you on now.
People think I'm of a certain age, but I'm not. I'm 30. I just had a really awful life, and no one.
But the good thing about that is you get work either way. You could be, I'm over 50. No, I'm under 50. I don't, just give me the job. I'll do whatever.
Well, from here up, I look 30. That's the only thing I like about the COVID mask. But this really happened. I actually wrote a joke because you know how everyone reeks of hand sanitizer?
Mm-hmm.
So every time I go on the elevator and there's someone on there, I wind up missing my alcoholic dad.
Well, I'll tell you, I had to give up cigars because my masks all reeked of cigars. I'm like,
Right.
Man, is that what I smell like? Jesus. So, but do you have any gigs booked coming up? Do you have anything?
Oh, my calendar right now looks like Joan Rivers when she had to show her calendar and it was kind of empty. No, I've got a couple gigs coming up here and there. I've got some Zoom shows coming up. And
How do you like that?
I've been teaching comedy to students, and they're really, I had no idea how much I love teaching because I was working on ships for almost 4 years. I was on Norwegian and I was on Royal Caribbean. And then Laughing Buddha hired me to teach. And then I did a stint with AHA Broadway and then working with SOS Comedy, which is a Long Island run. Heather Learman runs it. And then she has an SOS Comedy mic every Sunday. So I've got 32 students starting next week.
And talk to, you know what? I'm glad you brought this up because people have asked me about, hey,
and it keeps me sharp because I got to get them funny. So I can't be thinking what I'm wearing and what I'm eating when I'm listening to 5 minutes of their material.
What does the class consist of? How does it work? How many weeks is it?
5 weeks, and then you get a showcase, and you've got your choice. Because I tried to see, because there's so many comedians that just started doing Zoom, and they suddenly think that they can headline.
Yeah. Well,
or that the real world out there won't be like someone can't just say, hey, you're not funny. You could just mute them. You can't do that in a real club.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm teaching a tight 5, preferably on the clean side. But if you want to do dirty, fine. But it's got to be interesting. Do irreverent, dirty stuff. And then a lot of them don't know about PC, or they're overly PC, or they get offended so easily. So I'm teaching a class on a tight 5 minutes from your own point of view. And then I'm teaching crowd work, hosting, and heckling. So I want to help them develop heckle lines when they get out in the real world and the stuff isn't flying. And how to deal with, some hecklers are a lot of fun. They're drunk. They just want to be part of the show.
Yeah.
So instead of saying something nasty, you say something humorous. You play with them. That's all they want is a little bit of attention.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really good. I think that's even how this works. Like as far as like the online stuff. So we're on the Twitch platform right now. People come in here and they make jokes and they want to try to be funny. And I feel like you could either embrace it and twist it around on them, or you could take offense and try to shut them out. I think you're better off showing that you have the superior intellect. Like you could take it and turn it around to your advantage.
Well, I do this type of drunk guy, talking to me, saying something. I go, you know what? Herbie, that's your name, right? You're not too smart. I like that in a man, so they're being insulted and shut down at the same time, so I'm complimenting them and insulting them at the same time.
Yeah.
How do you teach dealing with a heckler?
Well, what I'm going to make I've never taught a class on heckling. I'm going to say, what's the worst thing you never want to be told that you dread? I know comedians that said, I stopped doing comedy because I couldn't take one more person telling me how ugly I was. And that made me feel terrible for this person. But she goes, I can't do it anymore. I can't be told I'm ugly. And it happens to women. It doesn't really happen to men.
No, I don't think it happens. That's odd.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. Can you imagine being such an asshole that you're sitting in a group of people and there's someone on stage and you're yelling out, "Boy, you're ugly"? I mean,
and they're funny. On top of which, they're funny and bright and good comics. And she said, "I don't have it in me to deal with it anymore." So she stopped doing it. So I would say, what are the worst things? And because it's in a class, I would get all the comments, all the things people were afraid of. And then I'd have them write their own heckle lines, original heckle lines. So like, I don't go to McDonald's and tell you how to make a hamburger, something, acting like a dick. Yeah. Use condoms, you're acting like a dick, put one over your mouth. Like it won't be, so that they'll come up with 5 heckle lines, which will protect them. So that when it's almost like you have armor, it's almost like you're waiting for someone to mess with you because you got 5 ways to shut them up. So, and then just crowd work, because so many comedians, they do their set, they're not in touch with the audience. And how many times have you had a great set because someone in the front row just got a kick out of you, and your set went from being good to being stupendous because you were in the moment. So that's what, I don't know if I could teach it to them, but I'm going to try and teach them in the 5 weeks, that class.
Interesting. Yeah. You know what I found is, and I've said this to comics, what's one of the keys? And I go, don't talk over them, talk to them.
Right.
When you're on stage, it's easy to go over. And when you're talking, I'm not even sure how to explain that, but you know what I mean. And I've noticed in the past year now, when I get up, I'm talking over them again. And because I haven't done it enough. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, we're out of practice.
You lose the sense of conversation that you have to have with an audience, that they don't.
All of that's been taken away from us. Like no one knows, unless you're an artist, the sadness that, I would do 17 shows a week. I went from 17 shows a week. I was getting ready. I was prepared after I did Funny Women of a Certain Age. We had a year's worth of work. A whole year. And then March 16th, everything ended the way I knew it. So I had to find ways to, and keep your spirits up. A lot of comedians like drink and drug, just because they get rejected so much, let alone adding COVID to the mix. It's just so hard. We're not meant to be this isolated. And what we do is we love to perform and make people laugh. And all of a sudden, and people will say, "Oh, yeah, don't worry, work will come back, or it'll be good, or, just write about it." Yeah, what do you write about? Looking at a wall, wanting to commit suicide, staring at your cat? What do you write about?
Yeah. That's the other thing, too, is that, and I didn't realize it until this, is I'll write something and go, I don't know if this is going to be pertinent when we open up. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? If you're writing something in October, it may not matter in April when we're, so it's been an interesting year, trying to figure all this shit out as a comic. Because everything just stopped. It just stopped. God, I remember being at Governor's on March 15th. It was a Sunday night, and I was doing a guest spot. And Anthony Rodia wanted to share something about our podcast, and I didn't know, because I suck at this. I didn't know how to do it. He goes, "Give me your phone," and he started doing and he did everything for me. And then, like 3 days later, I remember thinking, "Oh my God, he's got a little kid at home. I hope I didn't give him COVID from him touching." You know what I mean? Like
that's right. Yeah.
We were that frightened. That's a year ago. It's hard to believe.
And then you talk to people that you find out that comics that you knew have died because of COVID.
Yeah.
And everyone, I was very cavalier. I'm like, I'm not going to get it. I'll be fine. I do the mask. And, I've now talked to several people that I've known that have had it real bad, and someone just died, and people have died from it that I've known.
Yeah, I had it. I didn't have it. I just was tired.
Yeah.
So I got lucky. 10 days, just tired. And even after I was better for a long time, I was getting tired easily. And people told me, yeah, that's a side effect,
That's a side effect, yeah.
But thank God I'm fine now, And we'll see. I'm just so happy to be knowing that soon I can get on a stage again. And You know, the few times, like we talked about, I think before we went on, we talked about the times I've been on stage in the last year. The giving of the audience has been unbelievable. You know, I mean, they're so excited to have a show. So all this stuff about like you're going to teach people how to deal with hecklers. I don't think they're going to get any hecklers for about a year.
Right.
You know?
But then they could do crowd work. I'll focus, you know, and I'll say they might be very happy, but you know, some students I'm working with, some are, you know, have certain medical conditions and they're easy to get picked on. So I want them to be protected.
Are they mostly newer comics that have only really been in this virtual realm, or are they people that are a little bit more seasoned that are attending your classes?
I have new and old. So it's been really interesting. And then we have the showcase in 5 weeks. So I just tell the new comedians, you know, write what you know, write something personal. And then I'll just kind of help them punch their material up. I'll tell them what to research, what to look at, what to bring back each week. And I'll tell them a comedian to watch. And I'll tell them to make a minimum of 3 to 6 Zoom shows a week.
That's great.
Yeah.
And Leslie's saying hi to you, Richie, out here.
I'm trying to figure out which Leslie. Is it Leslie Flammer or Leslie Duncan? Because I know two.
He knows too many Leslies, this guy. And we do have the fourth member of this group, or the third member of Drink Jokes. Let's bring him back on in.
Hey, how are you?
He is.
Is that Axel? Hey there, Axel.
I wear a mask. I know where your dad's been. Wear a mask.
Yeah.
Your dad's a dirty, dirty man. What's up, Mark?
Oh, it is rainy. It is nasty.
Yeah?
Yeah. I am. It's
Hi, Leslie. Nice to thank you for watching.
You know, I had Peroni beer. I wanted to drink because I was hoping Vanessa was going to do some of our Italian characters.
Oh,
we haven't done the drinks or the jokes. Bad.
Yeah, and I could do it. No, I love it. I love Italians. Actually, I went on a date with an Italian guy, and he goes, "Listen, I want you. Put your wallet away. Put your money away. That you're insulting me. That's an insult." So already, I like the guy. Because I want you to get anything you want on that menu. You get anything on that kid's menu you want. You know, you don't like eat a lot of women or whatever you call yourselves now.
Well, it's funny because my brother was saying like about Cuomo, and he you know, oh really, an Italian man who felt the need to like come on to women. I've never seen that in all my years growing up. You know, it's
no one gives compliments anymore. It's like I have to go to Italy for a guy to look at me the right way. You know.
Remember when it was
like, listen, I think you're beautiful. I'm like, okay, you feel safe, you get a trigger. I don't mean to, no disrespect, but I want to grab your ass. Sorry.
I was a few years ago. I was walking down Broadway, and there were two women ahead of me. And as I was walking, I was walking faster than them, so I was getting around them. As I'm going around them, we passed a group of guys. And a guy yelled out, "Mommy, come over here, mommy, mommy." And in my head, as I'm walking, I go, I wonder if that's ever worked. Like,
I know, right? Like, oh my god, yeah. Let me give you my number.
Yeah.
I have no self-esteem. Maybe you can give me some.
Yeah,
why don't you come home and meet mom and dad?
Right. You know what? It always would make me feel good. This really happened. Construction worker. I remember telling my big race, this woman who took care of me when I was a kid. I said, these construction workers, I was like in my 20s, these construction workers always say something. And she goes, one day, honey, they won't say anything. That's when you're going to be upset.
That's a good point.
Yeah. But as I'm going around these women and these guys are like yelling at them, and I'm thinking that one of the women goes to the other one and goes, "Do you think this has ever worked?"
Yeah,
and I stopped. I go, "Oh my God, I was just thinking that."
Yeah.
And we started laughing, and the next thing I knew, I was in a bar with these two women having a drink, and I'm like, pretty much worked for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just thought that, it's just weird.
Yeah. You know what? Sometimes, it's so sad because sometimes you just want to be acknowledged that, that you're attractive or that guys look at you or, you always know you look good when a woman stares you up and down. That's then,
Richie,
wow, my suit, my dress, it's working because that woman's giving me a dirty look.
Now, let me, you know what, Vanessa, since you brought this up, I want to talk about this. And I know we haven't gotten to any of the joke yet or anything.
We don't have to. This is interesting.
Because as a woman, I'm as a woman on stage, I'm interested in this. Do you worry about your appearance? And do you worry, am I too dressed? Am I not dressed enough? Because you know what I've noticed? That women get mad if men laugh at other women at times. Like if men find women funny, it can affect the woman they're with, where maybe she'll turn off. Where I don't think men do that, because I think men in general just think they're funny. So if a guy makes somebody laugh, the guy isn't in the audience going, "Oh, why is she laughing?" But I do think women tend to do that. And I know that sounds sexist, and I hope that's not what I'm trying to be here. But it just seemed, have you felt that in your life, in your career, where, oh man, I'm making this guy laugh, but the girl he's with seems to be getting angry about it?
And then I always try and do jokes that I immediately get the women on my side when I start doing comedy and get them laughing, so they already like me, so that when the men come along, the men will just come along. I always make the women mad. I always try and make myself like men friendly, but women positive. So, the first thing I'll do is I'll make fun of my hair, what I'm wearing. So you immediately know I'm insecure as hell. And most women are. And usually I'll wear something that's dark. George Carlin always wore black. So like in a homage to George Carlin, I'll always wear black so that you focus on the face. And then sometimes I noticed when I first started doing comedy, I was very insecure. I would wear an army jacket or a jacket. And as I got more and more sure of myself, I was able to dress more femininely because I was confident about myself as a woman. But I've had women get jealous of me, get weird to me. And, I've always had so much love and support from women. So it's always been unusual when that happens. Mm-hmm. And in England, it was really interesting. When you perform in America, if a woman laughs in America, the guy will usually follow. In England, the woman would always wait for the guy to start laughing before she would laugh. It was just very strange.
So in England, it's kind of like the mob here. The women wait for the men to.
Yeah, they wait for the men. So, oh, she was quite funny. Oh, okay. I guess I can laugh. Yes.
I think I've noticed like a lot of meatheads. If there'll be a meathead at the show sitting up front, and the girl will laugh, and they like take offense to it.
Really? Oh, I haven't really.
There'll be she'll laugh, and there'll be like this look, like you're like, there's gonna be trouble. This guy's gonna be, he's not funny.
Yeah.
This guy's not funny, and you're like, relax, buddy. You can beat me up. You win.
Right. And it's hard, like as a woman, like guys can go on the road, male comedians can go on the road and have no problem meeting, a waitress, someone in the audience. You make a woman laugh, you basically, she's very happy. A woman is very happy with a guy with a sense of humor. But when a woman has a sense of humor, the guy immediately thinks, he gets intimidated. He's like, is she going to make fun of my penis? And it's like, no, I'm going to be happy if I could see one once in a while, We're not like this. I don't go, most women given the opportunity are just women. This is what we do for a living, but put the microphone down. We like to cook, clean, have a good time, and be a girl.
Yeah. The guy's worried he's going to end up in bed with you. You're going to be like, is this thing on?
Yeah. Is this real? Is that a pencil? I've seen mushrooms bigger than that shit. Okay.
I think I got the light.
Yeah. Is it in? What?
That's and it could be any situation. As soon as somebody finds out you're a comic, so is this going to end up in one of your skits?
Well, it depends on how you treat me. And I always say, no. And then I'm like, well, if this doesn't work out, yes, it will. But what I do, because the men that I've dated, they've always had kids, or I've always protected them. So any guy that I've made fun of, they've always become a character. they've always like become either Italian, German, English, and they could be as American as the day is long. But out of respect for their family and out of respect for them, I would never.
Oh, that's cool.
I would never. They wouldn't even know that. They would know when they would hear the joke. They'd be like, "I know where she got that from." You know, I mean,
that's got to be flattering though, because it's like including the song.
Well, this really happened. I was with this one guy, and this was a long time ago, and I got one of the best jokes out of it. But it really happened. It'd been about 19 months since I was into it. Can you swear on the show? Can you say anything?
Yeah, absolutely.
About 19 months since I was intimate. So I go over to his, so it's been a long time. We're friends. We've been friends for like 6 years. I'm like, this might actually work out, because we're friends. Give it a shot. I was drinking very heavily at the time. And I go over to his place and, I give him a blowjob. And he's really high. And I'm like, all right. He goes, I'm going to take a shower. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm thinking that's kind of strange. And I'm a little bit hungry. I smoked the pot. So I eat half of his hamburger, not thinking he'll mind, right? He comes out of the shower, pissed off, and he's like, hey, what'd you do? You just ate half my hamburger. I just sucked all your cock.
I think that's a fair trade.
Hamburger and sucked half your cock, but I didn't. You know why? Because I'm a lady.
Tom Jones wrote a song about you, for God's sake.
In all fairness, I really wanted that hamburger.
Every time I get back on stage, there'd always be an MC going, one more time for Vanessa, and man, I'm sorry about that hamburger. So I would never take it personally. But no, that really happened. I took one bite out of his hamburger, and he was like, that's so weird. I'm like, you're Italian. What do you care about me eating food? Are you going to offer to get me dinner? That's what Italians do. They like feed you. She's like, no, that's weird. I said, no, what's really weird is that you're so high that having a hamburger and me having a bite is more weird than you and me being intimate. You better like cut down on your pot. Because the last time I checked, if a guy could have his dick sucked or have a hamburger, he'd settle for his dick sucked. I would be some growing up.
I would have been mad when he took the shower after.
Then I'm trying to stay calm in the cab, and there's an Indian guy, and it's everything. I'm trying not to cry. I'm all upset, trying not to cry. And, I want to ask him, I'm like, so the joke is now then I add it with the Indians, like, listen, sir, can I ask you something? If you could have your dick sucked or have a hamburger, what would you pick? He's like, I do not know. I do not know. I had a really rough night, dick sucked or hamburger. I am Indian. The cow is sacred. Okay, hypothetically, no, not by you. You're very angry. I'm afraid you bite the cow. So anyway, I got home in 10 minutes, left him a great tip. So that was the joke I used. Can't even do the Indian bit now, but all of that was based on a true story. And I told my friend, my writing partner, I said, could you believe that? He got all upset with my hamburger. And I gave him a blowjob. She's like, you know why? And I said, why? She goes, because you're a lady. So I came up at the end. It was just a talk. And I nearly fell on the sidewalk laughing so hard. So I knew that's how I had something. So that's how these jokes come, Yeah, and then he contacted me later on. He's like, hey, can I make it up to you? I'm like, no, you can't. But I'll tell you, you gave me one of the best jokes I ever had, so thank you. So when he hears that joke, I see him around, he it's a wink. But I never have said his name, nor would I ever put him in that situation.
Interesting. Wow. We're all like wiped out from that story. Wow. Let's talk about your women of a certain age. What was that like? Carol's show, certain women, funny women of a certain age. Did you do the first one or the second one?
The first one.
Yeah. Okay. And what was that like? Take us to it's Showtime. That's such a big deal. It's such a big event. Were you
Carol got the show. This is the weirdest thing. I was working on the ships. They'd always have something to say that, Vanessa, you're a little too edgy, or you can't say this, you can't say that. So Carol had said, come down to the Crane Theater. It's a woman show. Funny, WACA, women of a certain age. Would you do a show? And I was depressed that day. I was trying to go keto. You know, when you give up sugar and everything that's sweet, you just want to eat everything in sight. It's raining. My hair is into the cosmos. I'm like, Carol, can I just say anything? Do I have to like watch what I say? Every time I turn around, they're telling me what I can and can't say on these ships. I don't even know if they're going to use me. And everything I say, they cherry pick. No, you can make fun of the British, but you can't make fun of the Indian. You can make fun of the French, but you can't make fun of the Germans. Like I would always get told what I can and can't say. So she's like, yeah, anything you want. So there's 9 people at this Waka show. I go past this bakery and they got like an almond croissant this big. And I'm like, oh, fuck it. My hair, I don't care. I'm going to eat what I want, do what I want. I don't care anymore. So I'm now in the dressing room. I'm eating this croissant after maybe 3 weeks of no sugar. I tell you, this was like having crack and ecstasy and sex at the same time. This is so unbelievable. It was like unbelievable. So I get on stage. I am wired. And I do my jokes to all these people, and I do my French porn bit. You know, I do my porn bit. And they're laughing. I'm joking with the girls in the front row. I'm teasing. And Carol said, I didn't tell you this, but that was 9 people from Showtime.
No way.
Wow.
Yeah. And I said, Carol, if you would have told me before, I would have been like Jackie Gleason, the honeymooners, you know, hum, 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 like, I couldn't have done it. But she didn't tell me. And then she said, listen, they love that show. We might be getting Showtime. I said, great. And she said, we did the New York Comedy Festival. And she said, we're getting Showtime. And it's because of your French porn bit.
Ha! Nice.
I said, the porn, the bam, bam, bam. God, she went, yeah. So, and that was, again, from a true story. I was dating this guy, and I'm cleaning up his apartment, and I see this Gap bag, and I pull it out. It's all porn. And I'm like, oh, okay. And it was the sickest porn I'd ever seen. And I'm like, what the fuck do you guys watch? Like, it looked like a plunger from a toilet. Like, they couldn't believe it. What you guys look at? Because women, when we see porn, it's like, do you want me to take my clothes off or keep them on, or what do you want me to do? You know, it's so stupid. Pizza delivery guys, you go, oh yes. It's always like a storyline. So like, yeah, baby, want to fuck you good. You know, it's like, I don't know what you guys find this. So that became my porn bit. And I had to say to him, I said, I cleaned up, and I didn't mean to look through your Gap bag, but and he's like, oh yeah. I'm like, no, it's okay. It's what you like. It's good. It's good. So that was how I came up with my porn bit that ended up getting me Showtime. So
the irony that it was in a bag that said the word Gap on it.
right. I know. I thought it was like a pair of slacks. I didn't know it was like the sickest porn of peeing and anime, and you fellas know what I'm talking about. Believe it or not.
I have no idea.
Well,
Speaking of sick porn, Gary Allen's show.
I love
How you doing, Gary?
body just as they are. Yeah.
Hey, Gary.
What's up, Gary?
Notice Gary showed up right when she started talking about
porn. Yeah.
So now you go and you guys go to do the
I couldn't believe it when we got it. Like when Carol said it's looking good that we're going to get it. I had been like, I had a huge development deal 2 years in, and I turned down the Drew Carey show. You want to talk about making a big mistake?
Oh my God.
Biggest mistake of my life, because I was offered my own show to play a cop. I mean, could you not see me being a cop?
Yes.
Floater on the Hudson. All right, I'll be over there. Yeah, let me get a couple. Like, I'm just meant to be a cop. I'm obsessed with serial killers. Mark will tell you. We've done some rides together, listening to rock and serial killers. You know. So,
Vanessa, you're the second person in a week that I've met that's told me they're obsessed with serial killers.
Yeah, I don't know what it. Well, the good thing about being obsessed with serial killers, if you
a lot of material out there.
Serial killers, chances are I'm not going to go to the supermarket because I don't want to leave my apartment. So that means I'm going to eat light that night.
I think We drove to Montreal for a gig, and we listened to a book about serial killers. And now it's a TV series.
Oh yeah, they're always on Dr. Oz show.
Yeah.
What's the new series? And it's the guy from Mindhunters. We listened to that book on the
love
drive to
Mindhunters.
Montreal.
Yeah.
So good. Ed Kempfer.
Comedians, you talk to them, you say, "Yeah, no, I like watching serial killers. I do too." Like it's scary.
We have the same lifestyle.
Yeah.
What is it that you like about it? Like what?
She's getting ideas.
I'm fat. Yeah. Like, if a relationship doesn't work out, I have choices, No, I think it is. I think I've always been fascinated. Like, when you get older or even younger, like I always had a very strong sense of God or Jesus or something was looking out for me. I had so many things happen to me that I should have been dead 9 times over. So I was always spared. So it always made me try and feel the presence of something divine looking out for me. And then when I would see these shows on serial killers, my faith would get questioned because I couldn't understand how you could do that to a little girl or how someone could be tortured and not get away when they've done nothing wrong. So it was always my fascination with the dark side. And then when they would get away, I'd be so happy. All of a sudden, so it always was questioning my faith about, is God really does exist? And if he does exist, why do these horrible things happen to people that are so innocent? That just some little girl, jumping rope, and the next thing she's brutally murdered. So I think I could never understand how that could happen.
Have you ever seen the movie about the Iceman?
Yes, of course.
With Michael Shannon.
Yeah.
Michael Shannon is so amazing in that because I kind of understand when they go, oh, they don't have a conscience. That's turned off in their brain. They don't know how to love. They don't know how to feel. But he actually felt for his family.
Yeah.
So he had feelings for certain people, but was able to turn it off. That was so freaky to me.
Right, I know.
And to play that as an actor had to be immensely difficult.
I know. And some woman like Ted Bundy, I think, had a family, right?
Yeah.
Well, I know on the same kind of note on that is we all had a mutual friend, John McLaughlin, who worked at Stand Up New York. He was a door guy, and he was an EMS driver. He worked for New York City EMS. And I used to say, like, how can you do that? Because he would talk about it so matter-of-factly.
Right.
You'd be talking to him, and he's like, yeah, no matter what people tell you, brain matter will stick to your shoe. Yeah. I'm like, nobody's ever talked to me about that. I've never once had a conversation about brain matter.
Right.
And he's like, it's the job.
Gary Allen said, I sat across from John Wayne Gacy when I worked in AG office in Chicago. The weird thing about that, Gary, was John Wayne Gacy was like, what the fuck's wrong with that?
I know.
But he said he could turn it off, and then he didn't see it as like a human life. He saw it as like a bag of meat that he had to get out to the truck, because the person died. And I'm like, I don't have that. I could never do that.
And I actually was in harm's way. I didn't know it. Years ago, I met this guy, and he turned out to be a rapist, but he never raped me because I made him laugh. And I wasn't even a comedian at the time.
Oh
and
my
he
God.
done something. We were talking and joking, and I remember the East River, and I forgot, Carl or Wayne or something like that. And I remember he picked me up, and he went like this, and this is the East River, this is the water, and he held me over the water. And he goes, I could just drop you. This is how stupid I was. I put my hands around his neck, and I said, yeah, but you won't.
Wow.
And he told me, and then what's her face? Beverly Johnson, that model. You remember the pretty black model? I'm going through the Post or the news, and she has arrested this guy for attempted rape. And I'm like, why is it? Oh my God, that's the guy from a week ago that
you went on the date with.
And I thought, you know what? I'm not going to date for a while. I don't have good choices.
I heard he didn't rape you because you ate his hamburger.
I ate his hamburger. Yeah. No, Craig. That's his name, Craig. Yeah, I ate his hamburger. I sure did. But, just to make him laugh. And I'm telling you, I thought to myself, if I was ever in a situation, God forbid, that I was in that horrible situation, I would start joking with them. I have been in situations where the guy has locked the door. And it's the casting couch thing. Wanted me to have something to drink, closed the door. It's after hours. And because I'm a New York girl, I have eyes in the back of my head. I'm very conscious. And I just started to talk to him about his wife and his kids and his life. I swear, sometimes if you're just human, funny, if you can, as hard as it is, you can sometimes get out of these situations.
Yeah,
I'm so glad we're having this conversation with a bunch
I
of
know.
This is so fun.
I'm taking notes for when we get back to reality and I have to start podcasting in person with Richie again, how to get out of it.
Connect with him.
Oh, I will
never get in the car. The worst thing anyone can do is when they get you in a car, then you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Ooh.
There's always a moment where you can get away. So you can't ever get into a car. But this really happened when I was a kid. My mom wouldn't let me have sugar. We haven't even talked about my hippie dad with the LSD and my crazy mom. I know, he's like, can we talk about your life? This really happened. This really happened. Halloween was like a high holy day for me because my mom wouldn't let me have sugar. Just, Trident gum and cottage cheese and raisins. And I'm like, what's mom? You're just ruining my life doing this to me. So anyway, it was Halloween. I'm in Brooklyn. A car is slowly going by, and you get trained as a New York City kid. Don't talk to strangers. Don't talk to strangers. Whatever. Don't talk to strangers. Don't you talk to strangers. So that's why New Yorkers never talk to you. Like if you're like, can you give me now? We're always like, no, I don't know. Get lost. Oh, they're Chinese from China. Yeah. What do you? Yeah, 1 block down. Like we're so trained. Just, I don't know. No, I have no money. I don't have. No, beat it. We're just trained. Because they might stab you. Not that you don't want to be nice. So the car is going slowly down the street, and this guy rolls down his window, and he's like, hey, kid, you want some candy? And I'm like, yeah. It's like, come on. I'm like, no, you throw that candy out the window.
You're making deals.
And he did. Threw it out, sped off. Yeah. I'm not making this up.
What? And he actually threw it.
But I never went in the car.
You found the one guy that actually just wanted to give you candy.
No. Like, come on, kid. No, you throw it out the window.
Vanessa goes, show me the candy first.
Me first, me later. You got that?
Does this candy lead to a starring role or not?
Right.
Vanessa, where did you grow up?
I grew up in New York. I grew up in, I lived in many different homes. I grew up in Greenwich Village, then Central Park West, and then I ended up, and then Brooklyn, and then I lived in England. Then I lived on a hippie commune in upstate New York. Then I lived in England. Then I moved back to Boston. Then I lived in Rochester, and then I went back to New York, and I never left.
Interesting. Wow. No, I didn't know that. I always thought, for some reason, I thought you were from Boston.
No,
maybe because your dad was Harvard or whatever, right?
No, my dad was English. And he worked with Tim Leary. I'm working on a show, and this is what the deck is about. This is the show we're producing. My dad was the original person that gave Timothy Leary his first hit of LSD. And Leary got all the credit, and my dad got forgotten about as though he never existed.
Your dad was Bill Hicks, and you're talking about Dennis Leary.
Right. Right. That's a good analogy.
Now, somebody told me that
my dad called Divine Rascal. So all about him, and I helped the guy write the book to just make my dad. Even when when I watched the movie Timothy Leary's Dead, I saw it with my writing partner. I said, here, Timothy Leary on his deathbed can't even give my dad credit. They're like, so who gave you the acid? Oh man, it's a long time ago. Like,
what?
Still wouldn't even give him credit. I'm like, you're dying. You're going to have your brain sent into the orbit, and you can't even give my dad credit. So it's almost like it's been an albatross around my neck. And it's kind of similar to like when Lucian passed away, I would always show his videos, or I'd always try and keep his memory alive. And I always felt like this responsibility, even though Lucian and I did have a lot of problems, but the respect I had for him for what he did. And then the understanding when I developed all the same problems my father had, when I finally read my dad's book, and I realized how mistreated he was, how his drunk father beat him, how he was not heard, that I was in turn, I was going to have the same qualities my dad had because I didn't know any better. So much of addiction isn't recovery. Addiction, the only is pain and wanting connection. And most of the time, if you can find something to connect with, whether it's a person, a place, a thing, something religious, or a recovery group, it can lift that feeling of wanting to drink. And the saddest thing about my dad is he took about thousands of hits of LSD and guided people through these great trips and was one of the best. Tim Leary called him the greatest trip guide of all time. It eluded him, to find any peace within because he was in so much pain. And so drugs can work to help you out a little bit, but, in the long run, he would have benefited from a little bit of therapy. And now, you get put for 30 years for LSD. Now LSD, microdosing in Silicon Valley, it's all, everyone's trying to do drugs again. And a lot of people with post-traumatic stress disorder are taking MDMA. Marriages are coming together because they're getting psychotherapy with these small doses of these hallucinogenics that are never addictive, that are not like opiate abuse, and that have really actually helped people. So they had the right drug, but the wrong decade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
it's funny because whenever I've done hallucinogenics, I've always only wanted to do a real little bit and then go to a park or go to a museum, but just enough so it opens your eyes to color and the feeling of what you're doing. I've never been tempted to I want to see a dragon. I've never had that want, but I have gone to a lot of museums and went hiking and just took a real little bit and really enjoyed it. And thought it was great. Now I think I'd be too afraid to do it.
Yeah, I've never done it.
To get me to stay in a museum, I probably would have to do some hallucinogenics because usually I wind up at the gift store. I would go with Lucian. You'd be like, no, I want to understand. I want to understand abstract art from when he began his first painting at 5 years old. I'm like, oh, Jesus. I'm like, Lucian, I'm going to go to the gift shop. I'm going to get a scarf. It's Christmas. I'll get some shit for that. See ya. And then I'd come back in an hour. He'd still have the headset on. Oh, this is remarkable how Mondrian started with this. And I'm like, I've gotten better. It's like with Shakespeare. I was trained to be a Shakespearean actress. And then when I got older, I'm like, does he have to take so long to say something? Can he just speed it up a little bit? Get
to the point, Bill.
Yeah, it's fucking all right already. He's like, Tiberius, my lord, will conduct you thither. The tidings have come. I have seen that. I'm like, speed this fucking play up.
You should teach Shakespeare. Telling the actors, just get to the fucking point.
Get to the point. Is the chorus coming? Okay, Tiberius, Agamemnon, come on, let's go.
What I find super interesting too. So now when you made that transition over to England, the whole connection between your dad and Paul McCartney, did you have a lot of people out there that you knew already? When you went over there for the second time when you got into comedy and started performing? Since you were raised out there, did you have almost
No, I only lived there. I was separated from my dad when I was 1, and then I took LSD by accident at Millbrook Mansion with him and Leary at 5. And then from 5 until 11, I didn't see him again. And then I moved to England after I finished high school. I finished high school when I was 14 and a half years old. And then I went back to England with him. And then at 16, I went back to New York. I went to Rochester. I got a job as a dishwasher. And then I got accepted at Lee Strasberg Theatrical Institute at 18. And basically from 18 on, I never wanted to leave New York City for large amounts of time because I was always, I always got shuffled around so many places. So I learned theater in England, but I remember it was very cheap. So my dad would say, listen, we're going to see Henry. They've got the 3 Henrys. I'm like, oh. But, I loved my dad. I wanted to see him,
Can't we just see 2 of them? Do we have to see all 3?
Yeah, we're going to see Henry the 4th, 5th, and the 6th. It's lovely. It's by Shakespeare. And I'm like, all right. And I'd be sitting there like, when is this thing going to... And then the English actors were hysterical. They'd be doing their part and they'd be like, no, I will conduct you thither. There seems to be such remnants of the coxcomb and the line. Be someone like reading, like, I was like, what the... No, they don't know their lines. It's like, no, this is acceptable. I mean, when you need your line. Now, at least American actors, they would come up with something. If you had Dustin Hoffman doing Shakespeare, like, yeah, no, Tiberius supposed to meet me and didn't work out. He was just American actors would just improvise. They would never go, line? No.
So you went over to England, you studied, and then you came back to New York, and you glossed over this whole thing where you actually said that you had a dishwashing job.
Oh, I had a dishwashing job. British. I was so shy. I went back to Boston. My dad said, "The world is your oyster. Anything is possible." There I was with cowboy boots, a pair of jeans, 16 years old, couldn't get a job, and I was too shy. I'd go to say, "You looking for a waitress?" No. And I would just start crying and eating. I smoked, I cried, and I ate. That's all I did. And I started to, I weighed almost 170 pounds. So now everything was a little bit tight. I was getting depressed. I hated myself. Then I added pot, which makes you more hungry. And then my friend Estelin said, Vanessa, when you do characters, you just disappear. Why don't you ask for a job as a waitress with a British accent? So there was the Big Apple Cafe in Rochester, New York. And I said, listen, are you hiring any waitresses? I'm English and I had 2 passports because my dad was British. I'm looking for a job and I really like to work. And they said, no, we're not looking for any waitresses, but we need a dishwasher. And I'm like, I'll take it. I'll do it. And so for 8 hours a day, I was talking with a British accent. And then I go back with Estelin and talk with a regular accent. And Estelin is like, just tell them the truth. Just tell them, listen. I was shy, you hired me. I said, no, I can't do that. I can't. No, my pride. I can't. No. So for 8 hours, you're going to talk with a British accent. Yeah, I will. So I'd be like, yeah, all right, lovely. And I come back to Estelin. I'm like, oh my God, what a day. And then I'd be like, all right, you're British. Okay. Yeah, no, all right. Yeah, I've cleaned the pots, got it. Yeah, So that was my life. Then when I told my dad, hoping he'd feel sorry for me, he couldn't stop laughing. He's like, Vanessa, this is probably the greatest acting experience you can imagine. I'm like, Dad, I barely have a pot to piss in. And I was always eating the roommate's food. There was this woman, her name was Yen, and she was Vietnamese, skinny, and I couldn't stand the smell of food. When you work as a dishwasher and all you're smelling is crepes, you can't eat anything at the restaurant. So Yen made this tomato sauce with sausage. And before I go on my shift and before she'd go to work, I would replace anything. So I had to replace, I came back at like 11 at night. I ate her sausage. And the next morning I had to replace it for her to have dinner when I'd be at work. And they didn't have sausage. So I got hot dogs, right? And I put the hot dogs in instead of the sausage. And without missing a beat, she's like, this is so strange. I made tomato sauce in the sausage tasted like hot dog. And I said to her, you know what? Sometimes that happens with American meat. It just
What what we learned today. Vanessa eat other people's food.
Oh, and I did that with Lucian. We had a whole box of chocolate from Godiva, and I wanted all of them. So I took a razor and I cut all the backs off of the chocolates, and I ate all of them, all the backs off, so I could taste every one of them with kind of having like 2 chocolates. So he's like, I think I'll have some of this Godiva chocolate. And he goes, this is strange. It doesn't have a back. And and I'm like, and I said, you know what? European chocolate, Godiva European chocolate.
I love that you're changing the food industry with your sneaking everyone's food.
It comes like that, because it's European. And they couldn't. He's like, oh no, you did this. You did this. It's ingenious. We just started laughing. I started laughing, but yeah, no. All true. All true.
It is ingenious. I hate that we got to start rapping now, but this is so good. We need to have you on more.
Please, we barely scratched the surface here. I got to tell you, you might have been the best guest we've ever had.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So,
Mark, how shy was I? He will attest to it. When I had to do that thing, you invited me. It was all guys, and I was like, "Yeah, right." Wasn't I as shy as can be?
No, you were great on there too.
Yeah, and everyone was trying to engage me. So that English guy was like, "Oh, he's English," and you. Everyone was so friendly, and I couldn't.
You were out of character.
Yeah,
you were out of character. You were still very funny, and anybody who doesn't know you would go, "She was wonderful." But, anybody who knows you goes, "Usually Vanessa would have done like 5 characters in that."
Right. I'm telling you, I hate doing podcasts. This has had to be the best podcast I ever did, and I mean that. I mean that. Like, you guys relaxed me. It was so wonderful. You're all wonderful, and I can't thank you enough. So
we loved having you. Next week we have Greg Morton, which is going to be a great show.
Yeah. Oh my God, that'd be great.
And the week after that is Lisa Lampanelli. So we have some.
You got Lisa. Wow. And she's like a string bean now, right?
Yeah. But Vanessa, you were wonderful. We got to. You guys want to get us up? We got to go to Frank's show, right?
Well, we got a couple minutes. I just want Vanessa to plug anything that she has to plug coming up there as well.
Go ahead. Plug.
The only thing I want to plug is I've got a couple openings for my comedy workshop. If anyone wants to take my comedy workshop, certainly don't leave any food out by me.
Even virtually, she'll steal your food.
I will. Yeah. But I've got like 3, and one of them, and it's all different ages, all different levels, clean, dirty, whatever you find interesting. And it's going to be, I still have 2 openings on the Wednesday class, either 2 to 4 or 7 to 9:30, 7 to 9 on Wednesday. And it starts April 7th. So if anyone's interested,
where do we find it?
Just go on. If you just message me on Facebook, I'll pass you right along to Heather Learman or Heather Learman, SOS Comedy, and she'll take care of it. Or you just contact me directly. And that's like the next thing I'm doing. And I always, whatever I do, just want to keep doing a Monday night comedy class, no matter what happens in my life. And hopefully, I don't know when I'm going to be at Governor's next, but I wish I had a date, because then I would promote that. So that's kind of right now.
What's your social media, so everybody can find you on social media if they haven't, if they don't have you already?
Barely can figure it out. Okay, Vanessa Hollingshead at Facebook. Instagram, I can't even remember. I think it's Vanessa 1660. And Governor's just left me a voicemail, so just tell them I'll put up all my social media for the shows I'm doing. Probably the next one will be Governor's. That's going to be opening. Stand Up New York, I don't know when. New York Comedy Club, I don't know when. You find out later on. So, but Vanessa Hollingshead at Facebook is the best way to get a hold of me. So
perfect.
Yeah.
Well, you were great. We didn't even do a joke or any of that.
No, I had so much.
You guys want to close on a joke each? That would be cool.
Joke you want to tell, and we'll go out on it. Hey, Vanessa, when we're done, stay on. Don't leave. I want to tell you something backstage.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, this is the joke I do with the COVID thing. I'm like, with the Zoom. and it's more of like I hated doing the Zoom, but it's like, when you're at a meeting with people on Zoom and then they pick up their, they're talking, you're like, yeah, no, that sounds really good with the meetings, with the, what's going on, and it's like, why do I feel like I'm in some bad, NYU student horror film, just someone at the door, wait, no, there's something, please, so that was my, I get to use my acting.
And it's so true. I mean, that's so
true. It's like, can you just be a little bit, focused on your, either do meditation or medication? Because they think that they're really being there. Like, no, I really hear what you're saying. Yeah, no, that sounds great. Okay, so we're going to make sure that we're going to make this happen. Yeah, I'm all over that. And like, why do I feel like I'm in the Blair Witch Project,
Got to get your steps in.
Yeah, I gotta get my Dutch right. So.
And now, Richie, what are you drinking?
I'm on the wagon, Diet Coke.
Still on the wagon?
I fell off on Saturday, but I had planned
to. I have coffee and my colonoscopy tomorrow. Don't open chili.
I need to get some of that for my older son. Some of that juice. Yeah, my drink was themed today because I knew Vanessa was coming on. I got coffee and seltzer.
Oh, perfect.
I did the Vanessa Hollingshead.
Mark knows me. Coffee and seltzer. I'll never forget being with Sharon in Montreal and having a cup of coffee. Sharon says, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "Can we just go get some more coffee?" She's like, "You got a coffee?" I'm like, "I know, but this will be done, and I want another one." So.
I love it.
Please come back. We really want you to come back.
I would love to. I had such a good time.
You were so funny, and I barely touched the surface of things I wanted to talk about with you. So, and hopefully we'll see you in clubs now.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. And if I'm at Governor's, Richie, I'm going to let you know, and maybe
do you know
James? Do you know James?
Sure, very well.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll let you know because she just.
Yeah, let me know. I'll stop by.
Yeah,
definitely.
Excellent. Well, that was drinks, jokes, and storytelling.
Thanks.
And I'll stay backstage, right, Richie? You want me to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Night.